Hello everyone, this is Whit from Brainstem Tutoring, and today I want to talk about a common problem for students, which is how to go through energy, frequency, wavelength of a photon, and how to calculate stuff like that. What I want to focus in first is what I call the triangle. It's like if a photon has an energy, it has a wavelength, and it has a frequency. If you know one of them, you can figure out the other two with these two equations. At Clemson, these equations, as well as these constants, should be given to you. Here's an example of a fairly typical vanilla problem. It says, there's a photon with a wavelength of 480 nanometers. What is the energy of that photon in joules? First thing we should talk about is units. I would say that to use the triangle correctly, you want to be in these units. Now there is some way you can use the wrong units and then correct it later, but my preference is to, at the beginning of the problem, like we're given nanometers, I want to switch to meters. And we're going to get the answer in joules, which is what we want. But if they want it in kilojoules, I would convert to kilojoules at the end. The analogy I use for that is like, pretend this is a neighborhood with you and two other friends. If you want to walk to a friend's house, you should put on your shoes, right? If you're walking outside. Putting on your shoes is getting to the right unit. But then, once you get to a friend's house, you want to take off your shoes. You might need to convert back to what you want to, what you really need. Wonderful. So as a reminder, I would expect all my Clemson students to memorize this, 480 nanometers can be converted into meters with this conversion rate or factor. 1 nanometer is 10 to the negative 9th meters. Plug that in, you should get 4.8 times 10 to the negative 7th meters. Now, this is perfect and primed to use the triangle. What I'm going to do first is, take this wavelength, convert it to frequency, get that number, show you what it is, and then take the frequency and convert it to energy. So number one, C equals lambda V, or nu. That's that equation on the bottom. Now I know the speed of light, 3.0 times 10 to the 8th is equal to, I should be using units, meters per second, is equal to 4.8 times 10 to the negative 7th meters times nu, or frequency. All right, do a little algebra, divide both sides by this number, and I should have this already in my calculator, but I invite you to pause the video, make sure you get this first. I'd recommend figuring out the number before I tell you. But we get that the frequency is equal to 6.25 times 10 to the 14th hertz, also known as 1 over seconds, also known as seconds to the negative 1. All those units are interchangeable. All right, back to the triangle. Now that we know frequency, we can use this equation to get the energy of a single photon. Wonderful. So, let me pick a different color. Energy of a single photon is equal to Planck's constant times V. Planck's constant would be given to you. Energy of a single photon, which is what we're trying to figure out, is equal to 6.626 times 10 to the negative 34th joules times seconds. And then plug in the frequency we got in the last problem, 6.25 times 10 to the 14th, 1 over seconds. I chose that unit to show you that those two cancel out. And it's really important, don't round in the middle of a problem. So I told you this number, and I think that's actually the legitimate right answer, but try not to round at all and do the second answer button in your TI calculators to copy and paste numbers. Plug that in. We get 4.14 with 3 sig figs times 10 to the negative 19 joules. And I believe that's right. Side note, visible light is always in the 200 to 800 nanometer range. If you use the triangle correctly, you should always get that the energy of a photon in this range is something, let me just use like the letter C, times 10 to the negative 19th joules. I use that as a way to guide me or check me if I'm using visible light range. If they give you something weird like centimeters on the test, your joules will not be times 10 to the negative 19th power. Wonderful. Hope this helps, and reach out if you have any questions.